Yeah, I heard you ask that question of Mike. Like, what would you tell yourself? And it's really interesting because I share this a bunch. I really did not turn the dad part off. I mean, the coach part off and become dad. I didn't separate the two very well. If I'm just talking about my relationship with my own daughter and coaching her, I didn't do that probably till she was a junior in college. Believe it or not. Now I was able to separate myself, go sit in the outfield, not coach her from the stands, do all those things when she got to college and was playing. But I recall it was a text message that she sent me, and it was as if she took a sledgehammer and slammed me in the chest with it. Real deep text message, but the gist of the text message was, sometimes I just need you to be my dad, not my coach. That was like getting just punched in the chest. And I did not ever consider that. Game would be over, a college game. The first thing I would talk to her about was their second at bat in the fourth inning. Why did you do this or why did you do that? And I never understood that. I did not relate. I thought that's what she wanted from me. And so for me, I'm embarrassed to say I didn't figure it out till she was almost done with her career. Now, I share that with a lot of younger coaches and say, man, how cool would that have been? I think about how cool it would have been for me to learn that much earlier on in the process. So hopefully me sharing out with a coaches that coaches his own kid could learn something from that. Because what happened was it wasn't that she didn't want to hear from me about what I thought. In fact, I was the person that taught her to slap. So it wasn't that. It just needed to be on her terms, on her time, right? And what she needed me to do was put my arm around her and tell her, hey, good game, right? Or, hey, don't worry about today, right? You play again tomorrow. This means nothing. She just needed me to be dad. I wasn't real good at being dad because I'd spent so much time being coach. So I think that balance is one that if you're a younger coach who's coaching his kid, which if you're a male coaching in this sport, that's usually what you're doing is coaching your own child. I was really good at the whole. Matter of fact, I was probably, some people say, well, either, use the term daddy ball. It means one of two things a lot of times. Some people think it just means you give your kid everything she wants. She bats at leadoff spot. She plays shortstop. She can never do anything wrong. Some people take it the other direction, right? It doesn't matter what they do. That kid can never satisfy her dad, and they're harder on that kid. I stayed pretty neutral doing that. In fact, I recall one of the best compliments I could ever get was when people didn't know who my kid was on the team. Kid that coaches at A&M right now, Katie Repley. A lot of people thought because Crash and my daughter played all the way from the time they were 8 years old, they legitimately thought Crash was my daughter. And that's actually a compliment because that doesn't mean I'm either doing something really good or really bad to my own daughter. But I wasn't real good after game of turning off coach and just being dad. Now somewhere in there I was, but I know for my daughter, she needed it on her terms, not mine. Because she had asked me about her at-bats later on. Once I figured that out, I wouldn't say anything. By the time we were done eating dinner, she was like, okay, let's talk about the at-bats. So I think there's some really big points in there for me. Try to figure that piece out earlier in your career. You'll enjoy that process even more.